The air in the room was thick, not with heat, but with words that had been waiting far too long to be said. Jungkook stood in front of you, his tall frame blocking your way to the door, his dark eyes locked on yours as if begging you to understand. Jungkook, Yin, I'm doing all this for you, because I love you. I can't help myself. His voice wasn't angry. It was low, almost pleading, like if you could just hear the sincerity in it, everything would be fine. But to you, it felt like pouring water on a fire that had already turned into smoke. Too late, you pressed your lips together, trying to keep your voice soft, but frustration was already swirling hot in your chest. Yes, you loved him, more than anything, but he didn't get it. He was bringing your personal life into your professional world, and every time he did, it chipped away at your focus until you couldn't think straight. Yin, baby, listen to me. I want you to stop this, please. Just stay away from me during work hours, that's all I'm asking. You'll be able to concentrate completely, and so will I. Your tone was calm, but your fingers curled into your palm, nails biting into skin, holding back the tension that wanted to spill out. Jungkook's brows pulled together instantly, his frown deepened, and he tilted his head slightly, like you had just told him something impossible. His jaw shifted, a sign he was thinking hard, maybe even offended. Jungkook, I don't understand, baby. What did I do? Why do you want me to stay away from you during work? Everyone in the company knows we're married, so what's the problem? He wasn't raising his voice, but there was weight behind every word, the kind that demanded an answer. Your heart thudded painfully against your ribs, your temples were already pounding, but now it felt like the pain was crawling up the back of your head. He wasn't hearing you, and worse, it felt like he was pushing for an argument. Yin, that is the problem. Jungkook, that is exactly the problem. The words ripped out of you, louder than you intended. His eyes widened in shock, and for a split second, the room felt too quiet. Your head throbbed harder, but you forced yourself to look him dead in the eye. Yin, I don't want you near me during work because I can't concentrate. I feel irritated. My mind is all over the place. You're everywhere, and I can't breathe in my own space. You saw the change in his face the moment the words landed, the crease between his brows deepening, his lips parting slightly as if to speak, then closing again. He looked stunned, like you had just pulled a rug from under his feet. But you weren't done. Yin, so please, do me a favor. Focus on your own work instead of coming to my desk every few minutes. Let me do my job. Jungkook, the heaviness in the air turned suffocating. His shoulders didn't move. His hands hung at his sides, but you could see the tension in his knuckles, white from clenching to hard. Without another glance, you brushed past him, walking straight out of the kitchen. Behind you, Jungkook stayed frozen for a few seconds before his head slowly dropped. He blinked rapidly, like if he didn't, the sting in his eyes would spill over. His heart was pounding, but not from anger, from a kind of ache he didn't know how to fix. He'd noticed you pulling away in small ways lately, avoiding lingering in his office, skipping lunch together, keeping your conversations short. He'd told himself you were just busy, but now you had said it out loud. You had said it, that you felt irritated around him, and now he couldn't stop wondering, were you embarrassed of him as your husband? Jungkook, does she not love me anymore? The question hung in the empty room, unanswered, echoing louder in his head than your footsteps fading down the hall. You grabbed the pillow and slammed it into the mattress, once, twice, again and again, until your arms ached. The dull thuds filled the silence of the room, but they didn't drown out the pounding in your head or the sting in your chest. Yin, fuck. The word broke past your lips in a shaky whisper, but it did nothing to release the tight knot in your throat. The moment replayed in your head like a cruel loop. His face, the shock in his eyes, the way your voice had risen, the way you had walked out without letting him speak. You dropped the pillow beside you and sat heavily on the edge of the bed, your shoulders curled forward, elbows resting on your knees. You buried your hands into your hair, fingers curling until your knuckles turned white. Yin, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Guilt was already crawling through you, heavy and suffocating, making it hard to sit still. You loved him, deeply, fiercely, from the very bottom of your heart. But lately, love had been tangled in something else, something ugly. Ever since the company learned you and Jungkook were married, the air in the office had shifted. Every smile had an edge, every conversation seemed to pause when you walked past. The rumors started small, but now they were cutting deep. You heard them again today. You'd been hearing them for weeks. that Jungkook wasn't the CEO he used to be, that he skipped important meetings, that instead of managing the company, he spent his time following his wife around. And the whispers about you, they were worse, that you were nothing more than the CEO's wife, that your position meant nothing, that you were lucky to have him, and without him, you'd be no one. It stung because you knew the truth. You'd landed this job on your own before marriage, before titles, and Jungkook, he was exceptional at what he did. But now the truth was drowning under lies, and those lies were spreading. The more you thought about it, the more your chest tightened. Yin, this is not right. I shouldn't have talked to him like that. I should have made him understand gently, not screamed at him. Your hands slipped from your hair to your temples as the throbbing in your head worsened. It felt like every heartbeat was pounding against your skull. You'd told him before, so many times, but today you'd reached the last thread of your patience and snapped. And now you hated yourself for it. You could picture him in your mind, still standing there in the kitchen, maybe replaying your words, maybe wondering if you meant them, maybe thinking you didn't want him anymore. The image alone made your stomach twist painfully. Your throat burned. Yin, I have to talk to him. You stood up abruptly, the sudden movement making your vision blur for a second. But you couldn't stay here, not when the thought of him hurting because of you was eating you alive. You stepped into the hall, your chest tight, your head still pounding, and there he was, sitting on the couch with his laptop resting lazily on his thighs. At first glance, it seemed like he was working, but the way his shoulders slumped, the stillness of his hands, the distant softness in his eyes, none of it screamed focus. He wasn't working, he was thinking, sad, quietly breaking inside, and you could see it. Your feet moved before you could stop them, as if some invisible force was pulling you toward him. You couldn't just stand there and watch him look like this. Without a word, you sank onto the couch beside him, letting your body almost brush against his. Your heart clenched as you realized he didn't say anything. He didn't even glance at you. He knew you were there, yet he stayed silent, like the distance between you was something he needed to keep. Yin, Jungkook, I'm really sorry. You turned slowly toward him, your eyes searching his face for any sign of forgiveness or understanding. And then you saw it, a soft, guilty smile that didn't reach his eyes. It wasn't the smile of relief or happiness. It was a quiet, embarrassed kind of shame, the kind that stabbed straight through your chest. Jungkook, no, it's my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way. You shook your head rapidly, a desperate urge pushing you closer to him, trying to close the space between your bodies, to erase the hurt. But before you could even say another word, he stood up. He didn't say a word, didn't look at you. He simply started walking toward the main door. Yin, baby, where are you going? Your voice trembled, cracking under the weight of your fear and guilt. You bit your lip hard. But he didn't answer. He didn't even slow down, and quietly left the house. Your fingers gripped the pillow beside you, clutching it until the fabric crumpled. And then, before you could stop yourself, sobs broke free. They shook your body, hot tears spilling down your cheeks, your heart aching at the emptiness that stretched between you. Yin, I'm sorry, Jungkook, come back, your voice echoed, but it reached no one. Your chest heaved as you rose to your feet, unable to bear the room, unable to bear the thought of him outside without hearing your words. Your bare feet pounded lightly against the floor as you ran back to your bedroom, tears streaming freely, sobs racking your body. Your heart felt like it had fractured in two, every beat screaming at you that you had hurt him, and that you might have pushed him too far this time. Over an hour had passed since you had collapsed onto the bed. But the crying wasn't just for the argument anymore. Your forehead throbbed, your skull felt like it was splitting, and your eyes burned with a pain so sharp it made you tremble. You couldn't stop the tears, they fell freely, unbidden, leaving streaks down your swollen cheeks. Yin, Jungkook. The name slipped from your lips unconsciously. Fragile and desperate, you sank further into the bed, curling your body slightly, and buried your fingers in your hair. Your scalp ached from the tight grip. But it was the only relief you could find. He still wasn't home, and his phone wasn't with him either. There was no way to call him, no way to hear his voice. The helplessness clawed at your chest, tightening it, making it harder to breathe. Your lips were sore and swollen from biting them too hard. Your eyes puffed and red, the blurred vision making the room spin slightly. And then, as if your body had been waiting for the perfect moment, the migraine hit again, a sharp, burning wave that made you groan and press your hands to your temples. You had taken your medicine earlier, but it wasn't strong enough to stop the pain from bursting through. Gritting your teeth, you forced yourself upright. Your hands gripped the wall, pressing hard for support. Every step toward the washroom was slow, deliberate. Each movement sent spikes of pain across your forehead and down the back of your neck. By the time you reached the washroom, your vision blurred further. The mirror reflected your swollen, tear-streaked face back at you. Your hair clung damp to your temples, and your lips trembled. You moved toward the sink, your legs shaky. You cupped your hands and splashed cold water onto your face over and over until you were gasping for breath. The cold shocked your system just enough to make you feel slightly sober, slightly alive again. But the pain in your skull did not ease. You tried to press at the pressure points, trying to chase the migraine away, but your arms and hands were too weak, your body too heavy. Every attempt left you trembling, exhausted, and frustrated. Defeated, you sank down against the counter, letting your body slide until you were crouched low, your forehead pressed to the cool ceramic. The tears came freely running down your cheeks. Your sobs shook your body, small and desperate, like a child crying for comfort in a world that had suddenly become too harsh. You had no energy to do anything else. No words, no movements. All you could do was cry, letting the pain and guilt pour out, hoping somehow that he would come to you. The bedroom door opened slowly, the hinges creaking in the quiet. Jungkook's head appeared in the gap, his eyes searching the room. It had been more than an hour since he'd stepped outside without speaking to you, an hour spent fighting the ache in his chest. He had told himself he just needed space, but the moment he closed the door behind him earlier, doubt had begun to creep in. His mind kept replaying your voice, sharp and raw, telling him you found him irritating. Each replay felt like another crack splitting through his chest, his throat tightening every time the words echoed back. Still, something in his heart told him maybe he was wrong too. Maybe he had pushed when he should have stepped back. Now, as his gaze swept across the bed, the desk, the empty corners of the room, his frown deepened. You weren't there. He had already checked the kitchen and the balcony, each one empty and silent. The bedroom had been his last hope, but even here you were nowhere to be seen. His heartbeat picked up. He stepped into the room, scanning it quickly, until the glow from the bathroom caught his attention. The light spilling from beneath the door indicated you were in there. And for a moment he just stood there, staring at it, relief mixing with unease. He took a step toward it, when a sudden noise broke through the stillness, a sharp, metallic clang against tile. His eyes widened, panic rising instantly. Without thinking, without even pausing to breathe, he rushed toward the bathroom, his footsteps quick and heavy against the floor, the fear in his chest pushing him forward. The sound of water hitting the tiles echoed softly in the bathroom, and there you were, standing in front of the hand shower stand, the shower head lying on the floor where it had slipped from your grasp. Your hands were pressed to your head, fingers tangled in your wet hair, your body trembling as sobs shook through you. Your hair clung to your face, your clothes completely soaked. Water still dripped from you, tracing slow paths down your skin, mixing with your tears. Jungkook froze in the doorway, his eyes widening in shock. Jungkook baby, are you okay? Your red, swollen eyes lifted toward him. The moment you saw him, something inside you broke completely. A long, choked sob ripped from your throat, and you reached for him without thinking, your arms opening like you were clinging to your last bit of safety. Yin, Jungkook. That single word broke something inside him. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. Seeing you like this, fragile, hurting, and so small in your pain, made panic bloom in his veins. He didn't hesitate. In 3 quick strides, he was there, wrapping you in his arms, pressing your shaking body tight against his chest. Jungkook, tell me, what's happening? Is it your head again? His voice was urgent, almost pleading, but gentle, afraid of pushing you too hard. He didn't need your answer to know the truth. He remembered last time, how you'd sat under the shower for nearly an hour, desperate for relief. You pressed your forehead into his chest, your breathing shaky, your fingers clutching the back of his shirt like you were afraid he'd let go. Yin, it hurts. Jungkook, it hurts so bad. His jaw tightened, guilt flooding him. He cursed himself silently for leaving you alone, for not being here when you needed him most. He slid one arm under your knees and lifted you effortlessly, even with your soaked clothes clinging to you. Only thought in his mind was make it stop, make the pain go away. Jungkook, it's okay baby, it's alright. I'm here, I'll make it go away. I've got you." He knelt by the edge of the bathtub, settling down with you between his legs so he could hold you close while still giving you support. His hand smoothed over your damp hair as he kept you against his chest. His gaze scanned your face. Your lips were trembling, your eyes red and puffy, your skin pale. A deep ache filled his chest, guilt clawing at him. Why did I even leave the house? He thought bitterly. Why wasn't I here when she needed me? Jungkook, did you take your medicine? You nodded weakly, your cheek pressed against the soft fabric of his shirt. Yin. I did. Jungkook pressed a soft kiss to your damp forehead, his lips lingering for a moment. Then, with gentle hands, he turned on the tap and angled it so the cool stream of water fell perfectly on the spot between your hairline and forehead. The cold spread slowly, seeping into your hair and gliding down your scalp. He adjusted the angle until it was perfect, his other arm supporting your head like a cushion. With his free hand, he began massaging, his fingers moving in slow, firm circles, finding the exact pressure points he knew could help. Jungkook, just a few more seconds, baby. I promise it'll fade. You let your head sink deeper into the curve of his arm, your body melting into him like you belong there. The pain wasn't gone yet, but the way his touch worked through your scalp, finding every tense spot, it was exactly what you needed. Relief seeped in, bit by bit. Jungkook, come on, breathe with me. In and out, slowly. You felt his chest rise beside you. His thumb brushed your temple, pausing every now and then to turn the tap off for a break, then back on again. Between these moments, his lips found your skin, pressing soft kisses to your closed eyelids, your temple, the corner of your cheek. Minutes passed like that, 15, maybe more. Time didn't matter to him. All that mattered was the way your breathing was slowing, the way your body was loosening in his hold. Finally, he spoke again, his voice just above a whisper. Jungkook, feeling better? Silence. No answer. He turned the water off completely and leaned forward, brushing his nose lightly against yours. Jungkook, sweetie. Then he noticed. Your face had softened, your brows no longer drawn tight, your lips were parted just slightly. You'd fallen asleep. A faint smile curved his lips. He lowered his head and pressed the lightest kiss to your mouth. Barely there. You didn't respond, but your lips had stopped trembling. That alone was enough for him. He shifted your head fully onto his chest, wrapping both arms around you and holding you close. For a long moment, he simply sat there, listening to your breathing and feeling your warmth seep into him. The ache in his chest eased. You were safe. You were calm. Reaching over with one hand, he grabbed the towel resting nearby. With careful movements, he patted your forehead dry, then moved to your hair, soaking up the excess water without disturbing you. When he was done, he slid one arm under your knees, the other behind your back, and lifted you up. You were weightless to him, your head resting against his shoulder, your hair leaving damp patches on his shirt. He carried you through the dimly lit bathroom towards the bedroom. He lowered you gently onto the bed, adjusting the pillows so your head rested comfortably. Moving quickly but quietly, he crossed the room to the closet and pulled out one of his oversized t-shirts, a soft one he knew you liked. He returned to you and began peeling away your wet clothes, his movements slow and careful so you wouldn't wake. The damp fabric slid away, and he immediately replaced it with the warm cotton of his shirt, slipping it over your head and guiding your arms through the sleeves. As he smoothed the fabric down over you, you stirred in your sleep, just enough to instinctively reach for him, your hands curling weakly into the hem of his shirt. He chuckled softly under his breath, his heart clenching in that warm, almost painful way. He couldn't resist. You wanted him close, so close was where he'd stay. He climbed under the blanket beside you, sliding one arm under your neck and pulling you into his chest. Your head found its place over his heart without effort. He began patting your back slowly. The sound of your breathing filled the quiet room. And for the first time, he let himself relax, because if you could sleep like this, then he could sleep too. Your eyes slowly blinked against the pillow, heavy and sticky with sleep. Each blink felt like lifting a weight off your eyelids. For a long moment, you just lay there, letting your body sink into the mattress. A faint, salty taste hit your tongue. You realized in embarrassment that it was your own saliva mixed with tears. The pillow beneath your head was damp, proof that you'd slept much longer than you intended. Your gaze moved upward toward the clock, almost 10 at night. A shiver of panic mixed with exhaustion ran down your spine. You pressed your palms against the mattress to lift yourself into a sitting position, wincing slightly at a dull ache in your muscles. That's when you noticed the nightstand. A bowl of steaming soup and a glass of water sat there, untouched. The smell of the soup was gentle but comforting, as if someone had prepared it with care. The soft click of the door opening made your head snap toward it. Jungkook appeared, holding a cup of warm tea. The dim light caught in his eyes, making them shine as he noticed you. Your sleepy eyes met his, and for a moment, you felt the world slow down. Jungkook, hey, love, how are you feeling? That's when you realized. The headache that had pounded in your skull moments ago seemed to vanish. You nodded slightly, trying to form words. Yin, I'm okay, you whispered. He set the tea down carefully near the soup, then moved closer, brushing a stray lock of hair from your face. His hand lingered just a second longer than necessary. Then, his thumb brushed at the corner of your lips, wiping away the faint trace of dried saliva without a hint of hesitation. Jungkook, you slept like a baby, he said softly, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. You almost smiled back, but the memory of your argument struck you like a thunderclap. The harsh words, the way you had snapped, the way he had walked away, it all came flooding back. Come on, he said, picking up the spoon. Let's eat something. Then you can take your medicine. You frowned. His voice was gentle, his touch careful. Was he not angry anymore? Yin, you're not angry anymore. He picked up the spoon, scooping a bit of soup, and brought it to your lips without breaking eye contact. Jungkook, when was I ever angry at you, baby? You gently pushed his hand aside. Yin, you ignored me when I asked where you were going. His expression shifted, regret flickering there. Jungkook, I'm sorry, love. I wasn't angry. Yin. No, I'm sorry, Jungkook. You cut him off, your voice breaking. I shouldn't have. I was wrong. Please, just listen to me for a while. He shook his head slowly, his eyes warm and patient, making you frown in frustration. Jungkook, only after you finish your food and take your medicine, he said firmly, yet gently. Then we'll talk. I promise. Yin. Jungkook, listen. You opened your mouth to argue, but he lifted the spoon again to your lips. This time, you let him feed you. With every bite, the tension between you softened. When the bowl was finally empty and you had swallowed your last pill, you tried again. Yin. Jungkook, but he was already placing the warm tea into your hands. Jungkook, yes, I'm listening, he interrupted softly, holding the cup out for you. Hold it tight. Before you could form the words, his arms slid under you, one behind your back, the other beneath your knees, and with effortless strength, he lifted you into the air. Your eyes widened. Yin, what are you? Jungkook, let's sit outside for some fresh air. His voice was calm, but his grip on you was protective. You stayed silent, clutching the tea close as he carried you toward the balcony. Your fingers traced tiny circles over the warm cup, but you barely tasted the tea. Your heart raced as you sat quietly on his lap. Jungkook's eyes were locked on you, intense yet gentle. You knew he was holding back all the worry and frustration he might have felt earlier, all because of you. Then, almost too softly to hear, you let your words escape. Yin, you know I love you, right? His eyes softened immediately. No hesitation, no doubt, just warmth, understanding, and a tenderness that made your chest ache. Jungkook, yes, Yin, I know, he said quietly, brushing a stray lock of hair behind your ear. And I love you, even more than you know. Something fluttered in your chest. You leaned in, testing him with a soft, fleeting kiss. It was gentle, almost shy, but your lips waited for his reaction, wanted to feel that what he said was real. When he kissed you back, slow and tender, eyes closing as if savoring the moment, a deep relief spread through your body. Your heart, which had been racing, in fear and guilt, finally found a rhythm, encouraged. You let your hands move from the cup to cup his face, lifting it slightly to deepen the kiss. Your lips brushed against his softly at first, then pressed a little more insistently, trailing pecks over his chin, his jaw, his cheeks. You finally pulled back just enough to meet his gaze, searching his eyes for reassurance. Yin, I'm so sorry, Jungkook, you whispered, voice trembling but urgent. I'm sorry for everything I said. I never meant to hurt you. I just wanted to explain. I wanted you to stay away because people at the office, they are cruel. There are rumors everywhere that the CEO might be replaced because he spends more time on his wife than work. Yin, they're talking behind your back, and it makes me furious. I hate it. I hate when someone judges your hard work. I never wanted to be the reason you were distracted. You took a shaky breath, your hands holding his face tighter, feeling the warmth of his skin against your palms. Yin, I never found you irritating, you added, your voice breaking slightly. I only said that because I thought maybe if I did, you'd step back. I didn't want to bother you. I wanted to protect you, and maybe myself too. As you spoke, a small, almost shy smile curved his lips. It was subtle, but it made your heart flutter. He leaned in closer, brushing his lips against yours for a brief, lingering moment, before playfully nudging the cup toward your lips so you could sip the warm tea. Yin, are you even listening to me, Jungkook? You asked, seriously trying to gauge if he understood the depth of your words. He raised an eyebrow, warmth and amusement dancing in his eyes. Jungkook, I am listening, Yin, he said softly, holding your gaze. I can't believe we argued over something so small. You really care. You're serious. I can see it now. You're serious. And it's beautiful. A shiver ran down your spine as his fingers brushed your lips lightly. Jungkook, but baby, why do you care what they say? It's my company. I have my own rules, my own schedule, and my own wife to spend time with. What's wrong with that? You blinked, caught off guard by his intensity. Tell me, Yin, have I ever missed a deal because of a meeting I didn't attend? Have I ever let the company lose money or fall behind? You shook your head, realizing he was right every time. He had managed everything perfectly. Jungkook, then what's the problem? He whispered, tilting his head so his lips brushed against your temple. I love you, Yin, and I can love you anytime I want, anywhere I want. Do I need to ask permission from anyone to love my wife? A blush crept across your cheeks as you lifted the cup, taking a small, shaky sip. Yin, no, Jungkook, that's not what I meant, you murmured softly. He chuckled softly, a deep, low sound that vibrated against your ear. Leaning in, he pressed his lips against your neck, and your body shivered at the sensation. His whisper followed, soft and intimate, tickling the shell of your ear. Jungkook, don't you love it, hum? Your breath caught when his fingers slid under your t-shirt, rolling over the soft curve of your tummy. You tried to squirm, heat rising to your cheeks, but he held you tightly, his arms pressing you against his chest. Jungkook, when I hug you while you're working, when I kiss you when no one is watching, in my cabin, in the washroom, when I corner you and pull you close, when my hands find you. Yin, stop it. You tried to push his hand lightly, your voice trembling, a mixture of embarrassment and longing, but he didn't release you. He only pressed closer. Jungkook, please, baby, he whispered, his lips grazing your ear, sending another shiver down your spine. Ignore them, they aren't worth your time. You're overthinking. I'll fire anyone if it meant only you and me, working peacefully together. A soft laugh escaped you at the way he spoke. He sounded ridiculous yet impossibly sweet, so protective, so stubborn, and utterly in love with you. Yin, I'm sorry again, Jungkook, you whispered, burying your face in his chest. Please, let's forget everything, please. Jungkook bit his lower lip, pretending to pout, though the glint in his eyes betrayed him. Jungkook, but tell me, do I really irritate you? He asked, his voice teasing, yet gentle, trying to coax a confession from you. Your eyes widened instantly, your chest tightening, and you shook your head vigorously. Gently, you put the cup aside and cupped his face in your palms, holding him as if to make him feel safe. Yin, no, that's not true. I love it when you approach me. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel seen. I love you. Jungkook, you could never ever be irritating to me. Your lips pressed softly to his lower lip, savoring the moment before you tilted your head and pressed a gentle kiss to his forehead. Yin, you're the best husband anyone could ever wish for, you continued, your voice breaking slightly. You're calm, gentle, you listen to me, you never judge me, you're always there when I need someone to talk to. I can be myself with you. Jungkook, how could you ever be irritating when you are all I want? He blinked rapidly, swallowing hard, his chest rising and falling faster than normal. Your words hit him like lightning, filling him with a warmth he had never felt so completely. He felt like the luckiest man alive. Jungkook, you really mean it? He asked, his voice low, almost breathless. You nodded immediately, without hesitation, and that was all the answer he needed. His hands moved to the sides of your face, and suddenly, his lips captured yours, not softly, but hungrily, possessively, the way you both secretly loved. Your arms snaked around his neck, pulling him closer, needing more, wanting him impossibly near. The intensity of the kiss, the deep hum that vibrated from his chest into yours, made your spine tingle with a delicious heat. In what felt like seconds, he had hovered above you, his weight guiding you to lie back on the couch. Your body melted into his, every nerve alive with desire and longing. Jungkook, I love you, Yin. He murmured against your lips. I love you so much. A small, breathless smile escaped you, and before you could respond, he leaned in again, this time slipping gently between your legs, pressing himself closer while capturing your lips once more. You wrapped your legs around him instinctively, drawing him closer, heart racing, every sound, the soft gasp escaping your lips, his low hums, the faint rustle of clothing, filled the quiet balk with the intimacy of your love. Jungkook, you're mine, he whispered, his thumb brushing over your cheek, all of you. And I'll never let anything hurt you. He pressed a soft kiss to your temple, then another to your lips, slow and deliberate this time, savoring you, memorizing you, as if you were the only person in the world. The night stretched around you, but in that balcony, in his arms, nothing else mattered but only the two of you.